the only thing standing between you and everything you want is your belief that it might not work out? Imagine living every moment as if the universe is conspiring in your favor, as if every setback is secretly a setup, and every delay is divine timing. That's not just wishful thinking. That's the mindset of visionaries. And Elon Musk, one of the most daring innovators of our time, lives by it. You see, Elon never approached his missions SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink with a mindset of, I hope this works. He acted with certainty, like success was inevitable even when everything around him screamed failure. That belief didn't make the journey easier, but it made the impossible possible. Acting as if is not about delusion. It's about aligning your actions with the reality you want to create. So, how do you develop that mindset? It starts with understanding something most people overlook. Reality often bends to the will of those who believe. When you act as if things are going to work out, your decisions change. You stop playing safe. You stop doubting. You start moving with purpose. Confidence replaces hesitation, and opportunities begin to respond to your energy. Musk didn't have all the answers when he launched SpaceX. In fact, he barely had any. His first 3 rockets exploded. The 4th was his last chance. Any sane person would have walked away. But Elon didn't just hope for success, he operated like success was the only outcome. That boldness attracted investors. That certainty inspired teams. That belief turned a collapsing dream into a company that now launches NASA missions. The same happened with Tesla. Everyone laughed. They said electric cars would never go mainstream. Elon didn't argue, executed. He didn't wait for public approval, he created a future so compelling that people eventually followed. Because when you act like it's already working, you become the gravitational force that pulls others into your vision. But let's be clear, this mindset isn't about faking it. It's about creating emotional alignment. It's about showing up as the version of you who's already achieved the outcome. How would that version of you walk into the room? How would they speak? What decisions would they make under pressure? That's what acting as if means. It's not a performance, it's preparation. Most people live in fear of failure. They hesitate, they procrastinate. They say, what if it doesn't work? Elon flipped the question, what if it does? And he let that question guide him through every storm. You can do the same. You don't need to know every step. You just need to start walking like the path is already paved. Every dream begins as a fantasy, and every success story sounds unrealistic until it's done. Elon Musk's entire career is built on audacity, on moving forward with a belief that the world will catch up. And it always does. Not because he's lucky, but because he refuses to entertain failure as his identity. This mindset is a choice. Every day, you get to choose whether to believe in your future or fear it, whether to wait for permission or give yourself the green light, whether to shrink or step into the version of you who wins. When you choose to act as if it's all working out, you shift the energy around you. People sense it, circumstances bend to it, and suddenly, what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. So, today, start walking with that energy. Think like the version of you who has already succeeded. Speak like the version who's already trusted. Take actions as if the deal is already done. The world won't always make it easy, but when you move like it's already yours, the world can't help but move with you. Because the truth is, life tends to work out for those who act like it always will. What if uncertainty wasn't a threat but a signal that you're stepping into greatness? Most people retreat when they don't know how things will turn out. Elon Musk does the opposite. He leans in. He bets on vision when logic fails. He doesn't just tolerate uncertainty, he weaponizes it. Think about it. Starting a private rocket company when you've never built a rocket? Madness. Building an electric car brand when the auto industry laughs at you? Insanity. But that's exactly what makes Elon different. He doesn't need certainty. He creates momentum. While others wait for signs, he moves like the outcome is guaranteed. Not because he's arrogant, because he understands that certainty is something you generate, not something you wait for. Here's the truth most never realize. The world mirrors your internal state. If you move with hesitation, doors remain closed. If you move with conviction, even uncertainty starts working for you. Elon didn't always have a clear path, but he always had a clear decision. The decision to go forward. To act as if the end goal was already forming in the background. That energy attracts resources. It inspires loyalty, and it forces the world to take you seriously. In 2008, Tesla was days from bankruptcy. Elon had just poured his last remaining dollars into keeping the company alive. He had no guarantee of success. But he refused to quit. Why? Because he wasn't operating on evidence. He was operating on belief. He acted as if Tesla would become the future of transportation, and then he made it true. He didn't wait for signs. He became the signal. When you carry yourself like someone who always finds a way, you start to see ways others miss. That's not magic. That's the psychology of action. It's the mindset of inevitability. The most successful people don't avoid risk. They shift their relationship to it. They understand that the most uncertain paths often lead to the most transformational results. Elon treats problems like puzzles, not barriers. He doesn't panic when things go wrong, he recalibrates. He doesn't look for the easy path, looks for the right one. And that mindset is available to you right now. You don't need millions, you don't need genius, you just need the courage to step forward without seeing the whole staircase. So ask yourself this: how would you act today if you knew the outcome was already secured? How would you speak in that meeting? What choices would you make if failure wasn't even a factor? That's the version of you the world needs to see, not the version that waits, but the version that moves. This isn't about being reckless, it's about being decisive. It's about understanding that clarity comes through movement, not before it. Elon Musk didn't discover certainty. He built iTone bold step at a time, and every time you choose to take action in the face of doubt, you're doing the same. The truth is, your future isn't created by what you know, it's shaped by how you respond when you don't know. If you wait until you're ready, you'll wait forever. But if you act as if the dots will connect, you give them a chance to. The world is full of people who could have made it if they believed they would. Don't be one of them. Be the one who moves anyway. Be the one who keeps going when the road disappears. Be the one who treats uncertainty like a blank canvas waiting to be painted with your vision. Act as if it's already happening. And soon, it will be. What if the secret to unstoppable progress was pretending you're already unstoppable? Elon Musk doesn't wait for confidence to arrive, the moves first, and lets confidence catch up. He acts like the outcome is already written in his favor. That's not ego. That's strategic psychology. And it's a tool you can use too. Picture this. You're facing a challenge so big, so unfamiliar, that everything in you wants to pause, to gather more data, to wait until you feel ready. But Musk doesn't wait. He acts like readiness is a choice, like momentum is a muscle. And that's what separates dreamers from doers. He walks into every challenge as if it's already solvable. And because he moves with that mindset, it often is. When Elon launched SpaceX, he wasn't a seasoned aerospace engineer. He didn't have NASA's backing. He didn't even have a working rocket. But what he had was this belief: we can figure this out. He didn't hope it might work. He assumed it would. That assumption changed everything. It gave him the fuel to face failure without flinching. It gave his team the strength to keep building when the entire world expected collapse. And here's the kicker: the belief came before the results. That's the game changer most people miss. Acting as if isn't lying to yourself, it's leading yourself. It's stepping into the identity of the person who already wins, already creates, already dominates their space. You're not faking it, you're activating it. So how do you do that in real life? You ask yourself, what would the most successful version of me do today? How would they show up to this moment? Would they hesitate? Would they shrink? Or would they walk in like the outcome was already theirs to claim? That's the energy you must step into, especially when your current circumstances say otherwise. Elon doesn't look at what's possible based on the past. He looks at what's necessary for the future and then builds backward. He acts like the world is moldable, like reality is bendable, like obstacles are just illusions waiting to be redefined. That mindset isn't just bold, it's magnetic. It pulls people, funding, and breakthroughs toward him. Why? Because belief is contagious. And when you act like your future is inevitable, the world begins to mirror that back to you. Even when the Tesla Roadster flopped on stage, even when Neuralink faced regulatory backlash, even when his personal life fell apart in public, Elon didn't collapse. He recalibrated. He acted like these moments were just temporary turbulence on the way to victory. That's what acting as if looks like in the real world. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about trusting that everything is progress. Here's a truth no one tells you. The world often treats you exactly the way you treat yourself. If you move like a winner, people listen differently. If you speak like a visionary, people pay attention. If you carry yourself like you belong, the room adjusts to your presence. That's not arrogance, that's energetic alignment. When you begin to show up with this level of certainty, people stop questioning your path. They start following it. And even if you hit roadblocks, because you will, you'll handle them from a higher frequency. You won't crumble, you'll course correct. You won't doubt your worth. You'll double down on your direction. So today, stop waiting for results before you believe. Start acting like the results are inevitable because you are. Let your posture, your voice, your decisions reflect the future you're building, not the fear you're escaping. Elon Musk is proof that success doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who walk forward like success is already chasing them. Act like it's already working. And one day, you'll look back and realize it always was. What if the greatest hack for your future success was simply trusting it's already unfolding in your favor? Elon Musk doesn't rely on luck. He doesn't wait for the perfect plan. He moves like the outcome is already his. He lives as if the future he wants is not a question but a fact. And that level of conviction rewires everything. It's not that Musk doesn't feel fear, he just doesn't feed it. He doesn't give it power. Instead, he operates from a mindset that says, even if this fails, I'll still win. Because I'll learn, I'll adapt, I'll build again. That kind of mental resilience doesn't come from external proof, it comes from internal practice. Acting as if isn't just a tactic, it's a training ground for greatness. When SpaceX lost its third rocket, the world expected a shutdown. Journalists declared the company dead, investors backed off. Elon had every reason to walk away, but he didn't flinch, he didn't spiral. He made one critical choice, to keep showing up as if the fourth launch would succeed. And it did. That moment didn't just save the company, it changed the entire aerospace industry. Because one man refused to stop believing in an outcome that hadn't happened yet. That's the magic of acting as if. You generate forward motion in a reality that hasn't fully arrived, but is already under construction. And the more you act from that future version of yourself, the faster it becomes your present. This mindset isn't about fantasy, it's about identity. Elon doesn't wake up and ask, can I do this? He wakes up and decides who he needs to be to make it happen. That identity drives his behavior. And behavior shapes results. The loop starts from within. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need a 10-year plan. You just need to decide who you are becoming and start living from that place now. The version of you who always finds a way, let them lead. The version who stays calm in chaos, let them speak. The version who succeeds no matter what, let them act. Because here's the truth. The external world will always reflect the energy you bring to it. Doubt invites delay. Confidence accelerates results. When you act like things are working out, your brain starts looking for evidence that they are. And suddenly, the impossible doesn't feel so distant anymore. Elon Musk isn't special in the way most people think. He's not always the smartest in the room, but he is often the boldest. He trusts himself when no one else does. He places bets that no sane person would consider. And more importantly, he never breaks character. He stays in the role of the man who wins, even when the script turns chaotic. You can do the same. Whether you're starting a business, rebuilding your life, chasing a wild dream, your success depends more on how you show up than what you currently have. When you act like it's already yours, your energy changes, your speech changes, your standards change, and the world responds accordingly. Don't ask for permission to believe in yourself. Give it. Don't wait for proof to act like a leader. Lead. Don't hope someone comes to save your dream. Be the person who saves it by refusing to give up on it. Every powerful shift in Elon's career began with this quiet certainty. This is going to work. Not because it always looked like it would, but because he decided it would. That decision shaped everything. So ask yourself, what would shift in your life if you moved like it was already working out? What would change if you trusted the path even before you saw the destination? What doors would open if you walked like the future was already unfolding in your favor? Here's the answer. Everything. Act as if. Stay the course. And watch the world rise to meet the version of you that refuses to doubt. What if the reason you're stuck isn't because the goal is too far, but because you keep acting like it's out of reach? Elon Musk doesn't treat his dreams like they're distant. He acts as if they're on the way. That mindset doesn't just change the outcome, it accelerates it. Because when you behave like success is inevitable, you stop wasting time on doubt and start building the bridge toward it. Think about how many hours, days, even years do people lose because they're waiting to feel ready? Elon skips that step. He doesn't wait for the stars to align. He moves, even when everything is chaos. When the odds are stacked against him, he doubles down. Why? Because he understands that the world bends to those who refuse to pause. When Tesla was bleeding cash and short sellers were circling like vultures, Musk didn't back off. He didn't panic. He worked 120 hours a week. He slept on the factory floor. Not because he had all the answers, but because he refused to give up on the outcome he had already decided was real. That's the power of acting as if. It makes you resilient, relentless, resourceful. Most people are waiting to see the results before they act like they believe. Elon flips the process. He believes, and then acts like the results are inevitable. That belief shapes his tone, his actions, and his leadership. And that's why people follow him, not because they understand everything he's doing, but because they're pulled into the gravity of his certainty. This is the same mindset you can apply in your own life. You don't need to be running a billion-dollar company. You just need to decide that your goal is already in motion, that your success is already unfolding, that your future is not a fantasy, it's a fact. You begin by asking, what would I do differently if I believed it was already happening? Would you still play small? Would you still overthink every move? Would you still wait for someone to validate your idea? Or would you trust your own instincts? When you act like the results are on their way, you stop begging for permission. You start executing. And when you start executing, things start shifting fast. Here's the secret most people miss. It's not the goal that's hard to reach, it's the mental distance you've created between you and the outcome. Elon Musk doesn't treat Mars like a fantasy. He treats it like a destination. That mindset shapes everything from funding to engineering to public belief. The bolder he acts, the more real it becomes. Not just to him, but to everyone. People often ask, what if I act as if and I fail? But that's the wrong question. The real question is, what if you never act and nothing changes? Acting as if doesn't guarantee the outcome, but it guarantees progress. And progress is what creates success. Even when Musk fails, and he does, he fails forward. His losses become learning. His setbacks become new launch pads. That only happens because he keeps moving like the destination is still intact, even when the road gets messy. So, what's your dream? Your vision? Your next level? Stop waiting for the conditions to be perfect. Start acting like it's already working. Like the right people are on their way. Like the opportunities are already forming behind the scenes. Because the truth is, they are, but they're waiting for you to rise to the version of yourself who's ready to receive them. Act like you're already there, and you'll be shocked at how fast reality catches up. Chapter 6. What if the greatest breakthroughs in your life aren't waiting in the future, but in the way you think about the future? Elon Musk doesn't predict outcomes based on the past. He doesn't limit his vision to what's realistic. He projects forward with such conviction that the impossible starts to bend toward him. That's the power of acting as if the outcome is already in motion even when there's no evidence yet. This isn't just optimism, it's strategy. It's belief turned into behavior. Musk once said, "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." That statement holds the core of this mindset. He doesn't act based on probability, he acts based on purpose. And that shift allows him to keep going when others quit. Because when you act as if it's working out, you no longer need constant reassurance. You generate your own momentum. Most people operate reactively, they wait to see results before committing. But Elon flips that. He commits first and creates the results through his actions. When the world said reusable rockets weren't viable, he didn't argue. He launched. When they said electric cars couldn't scale, he didn't wait. He executed. And eventually, reality aligned with the force of his belief. Here's the truth. When you act like the vision is real, people respond differently. Investors listen closer. Teams work harder. Critics grow quieter. Because confidence speaks a language louder than facts. It's a signal that you're not here to try, you're here to transform. And you don't need billions to apply this principle. In your life, this means showing up as if the door is already open. It means pitching the idea like it's already backed. It means walking into the interview, the boardroom, the opportunity with the posture of someone who knows it's theirs to win it in arrogance, but in alignment with the future you've chosen to believe in. This isn't about lying to yourself. It's about holding a vision so clearly that your actions start reflecting it before anyone else sees it. It's about planting your flag in the future and pulling yourself toward a decisive step at a time. Even when Elon makes bold claims colonizing Mars, building a brain-computer interface, revolutionizing transportation, he doesn't just speak them. He acts as if they're already underway. Because to him, they are. That's the difference. He lives inside his vision. And eventually, so do we. Your vision might not be global, but it's just as valid. Maybe you're building a business, changing careers, healing from something that tried to break you. Wherever you are, ask yourself, what would the version of me who knows this is working out do next? How would they wake up? What would they prioritize? Who would they surround themselves with? When you start making decisions from that version of yourself, everything shifts. Doubt loses power. Distractions lose their grip. And suddenly, you're no longer chasing the future, you're becoming it. The people who change the world don't wait for certainty. They bring it with them. Elon Musk isn't where he is because he had a perfect plan. He's there because he moved like the plan would become perfect through execution. And that's available to you, too. You don't need all the answers. You just need to stop asking permission to believe in your own path. Act as if it's already working. Walk like the outcome is already real. Move like the future is already unfolding in your favor, because the moment you do, it starts to. What if the only thing keeping your dream from becoming reality is the way you speak about it? Elon Musk doesn't just act like his vision is inevitable, he talks like it is. He doesn't hedge. He doesn't soften the edges. He communicates with a tone that makes you feel like the future is already happening. And that's not just inspiring, it's intentional. Language isn't neutral. It programs your brain. It influences your behavior. It shapes how others respond to you. And Musk understands this at a fundamental level. When he talks about colonizing Mars, he doesn't say, maybe, if we're lucky. He says, we're going to make life multi-planetary, not try-make. That shift in language is powerful. It moves you out of hope and into certainty. Most people speak in a way that reveals their doubt. I'm trying to start a business. I hope this works. We'll see what happens. Those phrases feel harmless, but they leak uncertainty. They reflect a mindset that hasn't fully committed to the outcome. And if you can't speak your dream with confidence, how can you expect others to believe in it? Musk speaks from the future. He uses language that assumes the goal is already forming, even when the odds are brutal. When Tesla was struggling, he didn't go public with fear. He spoke of scaling globally. When Starship exploded, he didn't apologize. He said, "We learned a lot." That's a man speaking from vision, not emotion, from belief, not panic. So ask yourself, how do you talk about your goals? Do you hedge your words to protect yourself from disappointment? Or do you speak like someone who knows where they're going, even if the path is still uncertain? When you change your language, you change your identity. When you start saying, I'm building a company, instead of, I'm trying to start something, you activate a different version of yourself. One who takes risks. One who expects results. One who keeps moving when others stall. This is not about arrogance. It's about ownership. Elon doesn't communicate like someone asking for approval. He communicates like someone creating the future. And whether people agree or not, they listen because conviction is magnetic. You don't need to exaggerate your wins or pretend everything's perfect, but you do need to stop speaking like your dream is a maybe. Speak it like it's a must. Like it's already underway. Like it's waiting on you to keep showing up. Imagine what would happen if every time you talked about your goal, you infused it with certainty. Not hype but calm, grounded confidence. Imagine how differently people would respond. Imagine how differently you would respond. Your brain listens to your words. When you speak powerfully, you start thinking powerfully. And when you think powerfully, your actions follow. That's why acting as if has to include how you talk. The words you choose become the reality you build. Musk uses communication as a tool to sculpt belief not just in others, but in himself. You can do the same. Speak your vision clearly, boldly, repeatedly, until it feels so real that the world starts adjusting to it. You don't have to know how it will happen. You just have to keep declaring that it will happen. Out loud, often. And without apology, act like the future is certain. Talk like the outcome is already moving. Live like the universe is catching up to your intention. Because the truth is, it is. What if the final piece to your success is refusing to break character? Elon Musk doesn't just act like it's working, Alf stays in that mindset no matter what. That's the ultimate discipline. Not just starting with belief, but staying in belief when things fall apart. That's what separates temporary motivation from permanent transformation. Because the truth is, Anyone can be confident at the beginning. Anyone can say, I believe, when things are going well. But what about when it's quiet? When the bank account is low, the support is gone, and no one's clapping? That's where most people break. But not Elon. When his rockets exploded, when headlines mocked him, when friends told him to quit, didn't stop acting like the future was his. He didn't shrink. He stayed in character. He kept showing up as the man who knew it would work. That consistency is what carried him through chaos. That inner stability is what turned ridicule into reverence. Most people live by results they only believe when they can see progress. But Musk lives by identity he acts from who he's becoming, not what's currently happening. That's the deeper level of acting as if. It's not just about pretending things are okay. It's about anchoring to a truth that hasn't materialized yet, but will, because you're holding the line. This is where the real test happens. Not in the launch, but in the silence. Not when everyone's watching, but when no one is. Can you still walk like it's working? Can you still lead like it's building? Can you still speak like the future is happening even when the present looks like a disaster? Elon does. And not because he's never scared, he is. But he never lets fear drive. He gives it a seat in the car, but not the steering wheel. That's strength. That's what resilience looks like. Not being emotionless, but being unshakable. So, what does this mean for you? It means you can't just visit belief. You have to live in it, even when the numbers are down, even when you get rejected, even when the first version fails. You stay in the energy of the result. You move like the outcome is inevitable. You breathe like the answer is coming. Because it is, he kept showing up as the man who knew it would work. That consistency is what carried him through chaos. That inner stability is what turned ridicule into reverence. Most people live by results they only believe when they can see progress. But Musk lives by identity he acts from who he's becoming, not what's currently happening. That's the deeper level of acting as if. It's not just about pretending things are okay. It's about anchoring to a truth that hasn't materialized yet, but will, because you're holding the line. This is where the real test happens. Not in the launch, but in the silence. Not when everyone's watching, but when no one is. Can you still walk like it's working? Can you still lead like it's building? Can you still speak like the future is happening even when the present looks like a disaster? Elon does. And not because he's never scared. He is. But he never lets fear drive. He gives it a seat in the car, but not the steering wheel. That's strength. That's what resilience looks like. Not being emotionless, but being unshakable. So, what does this mean for you? It means you can't just visit belief. You have to live in it, even when the numbers are down, even when you get rejected, even when the first version fails. You stay in the energy of the result. You move like the outcome is inevitable. You breathe like the answer is coming. Because it is. Thanks for watching my video. If you found it helpful or inspiring, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your one comment can motivate us to create even better content. Stay curious, keep learning, and never stop growing. See you in the next video.